Good morning, Mob family. Welcome to Mob TV Cafe Clutch, episode 50. Hello, everyone. Let's give everyone a little bit of time to get here. And let's see where everyone is. Make sure we don't have any feedback. Hello, Linda. Welcome. Chat's open. Fantastic. We're going to wait a little while, Z, before we do our official greets, okay?
Okay.
Let's wait until we get a few more people in.
Oh, there's only a little bit of people.
Right now,
here.
there's 6. Hey, it's awesome.
Oh,
6 people
wow.
are here already.
Who?
I can't tell you right now.
Another person just joined.
Yeah. Let's see. You can see a whole bunch of people. You can see there's 6. See it on next to where it says live?
Yeah.
Let's see,
There's
6.
an eye.
So we'll wait until there's about 10 people, 7 already. And then somebody looked like they were angry. So yes. Are you blocking my light? You in my light?
Yes, I am.
Don't block my light. What
Oh
are you
no, I'm doing nothing.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That's
I
me
see your
looking.
shadow on my shirt.
I know. Yeah, well, there's a moon there, so obviously there's going to be shadows.
Very, very astute of you. Very astute.
What does that mean?
Observant. So, are you ready?
Mhm.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right.
I cleaned off her crusty ear with a
Okay.
paper towel. and
Can we not
water.
discuss that while we're on Mount TV? I said hello. Come
Oh, right now?
right now.
Welcome to Mob TV Coffee
Episode
Clutch.
50.
50?
Wow.
50. Episode 50.
Welcome.
I'm seeing my face.
Welcome. There you go.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mob TV Cafe Clutch. This is episode 50. And so, according to Chris, who keeps track of all this awesome stuff, we've been doing this now for 2 years, which is amazing. The time has flown. So I'm going to wait a little while longer. I hope you're all doing well. It's chilly today out here in New York City, so we're a little chilly. It's like 60 something, and let's see.
It's not that chilly, Dad.
Yeah, it's chilly.
91.
No, look
Oh.
carefully.
It's
64.
The report's in 91.
Yeah, that was yesterday. So it's 60 something, and so we went out this morning. It was a little cool, right?
Yeah.
So hello to everyone. Let's say hello. Let's do our shout outs. So shout outs to all the people. So let's see. Shout outs to my tribe, the older ones, the younger ones, my sister, who is probably at work. And let's see. I think that's pretty much everyone in my personal shout outs. Shout out to everyone on YouTube. Hello. Everyone in YouTube world, if you're watching from YouTube. And shout outs to everyone who's currently watching in the mob. There's about 8 of us right now, so it's still early. We just started. And I also know it's as the weather turns and it's summer, we're gonna have not as many people coming because it gets crazy, and as the time progresses, we're on different time zones, so it changes. And also, it's end of school, so I know there are a lot of activities for school right now. So our numbers may be a little less, but hey, we're all here and we're hanging out, we're talking, and we're spending time together, and that is the key. So shout out to all of you people, all of us. Shout out. Did you want to say a shout out? Say hello. Just say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Make sure the door's closed. Okay. Don't forget to support us on YouTube. We're on YouTube at Bitten Peaches. Like, subscribe, and share. So follow us on YouTube, and that way we can grow our numbers on YouTube as well. It's a kind of a marathon, so we're not trying to explode, although we do want to have a lot of people on YouTube. But I understand, and the people who are helping us do this, Chris. Wow, it's looking really pixelated. We understand that this is a process. It takes time. So help us on YouTube. At Instagram, we're at Bitten Peaches. So please follow us on Instagram. I know some of you will not follow us on Instagram because you don't do that much social media. But those of you that are on Instagram, give us a follow on Instagram. Visit us on ZAZZLE at M&S. And if you do get something, please remember to use the referral link on the ZAZZLE store. So the referral link helps us be able to track the analytics even better, so we can see what's going on and see if we need to adjust anything. So don't forget to use the referral link if you're getting some awesome swag from our ZAZZLE store. I'd like to welcome Grace. If I mangle your last name, I'm sorry. Grace Gimmenhart is one of our new patrons. So thank you, Grace, for joining our Patreon. If you haven't joined our Patreon, you missed out on one of the character interviews that are only for the patrons. So, sorry. You want to join our Patreon. It's really awesome to join. It's easy to join. So join our Patreon and you get exclusive Patreon patron content. So do that and you'll get some awesome kind of snippets and stories and that are only for the patrons. And let's see, we have our newsletter. It should be next week, the week after. I'm going to try a little different format for the newsletter and see what I could put in there to kind of, that's only for the people who are on the newsletter. We have a lot of people in the newsletter. It's over 5,000. So just join our newsletter and you'll get kind of what's coming up, what I'm working on. A lot of people who are on the newsletter are not in the mob or don't do Facebook. So it's another way for you to find out what's happening. Sometimes there's a special, the book is released, and you won't know about it on Facebook, but you'll get the newsletter. I've heard that a few times. So join the newsletter. You just go to orlandoasanchez.com and give me your email, and I'll send, and you'll be part of the Creative Warriors newsletter. So join us there. Don't forget to follow us on BookBub. We don't have that many followers on BookBub, so follow us on BookBub, please. That'd be great. And Binge Books, join and add reviews. All the links, according to Dolly, who's not here today, sorry. She has to do a half day. Well, one of the Valkyries it's the last day of school, so she has to do half a day, and her school is far from here, so it doesn't make sense for Dolly to go and then come back and then go and come back. So she just waits and then she'll come back with her. But all the links have been posted in the group page in the mob, so check out the links there, and then you can just click and go wherever you need to go. So awesome. So let's see, what are we up to? Rec Room is blowing me away. It's doing so well. Let me see what Rec Room is doing. Requiem is still, let me check as of right now. Requiem is still a #1 new release. I don't know how that's happened. You guys are incredible. It's still #1 new release in metaphysical and visionary, which is my kind of the genre that I put all the books in. One of the genres. It's doing incredibly well. It's in the top 10 in the other ones. It's fantastic. So, and in the top 20 in fairy tales, I think it's #15. So, it's awesome. You guys are incredible. I want to thank you all for just being amazing, talking about the story, getting the word out, getting the story. You guys are awesome. So thank you. I'm not seeing any comments. Why am I not seeing any comments? Are you guys commenting? I don't see any comments. Let's see. Maybe they changed the feed. Hold on. I'm going to try and see this. Hold on.
Daddy, you said over here.
Hold on.
Look at this. Over here, there's a thing.
That's not it. That's not, I need this. Hold on, let me check. Let me just check something real quick, guys. I need to be here. Yeah. Okay. It has 26 comments, see? I'm just not seeing them. Alright, hold on, guys. I'm going to see if I can find the comments. Just shift you over just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to close this and then reopen it, It's acting funky. And I know you guys are commenting, I just can't see them. It's very strange. Do you see? It's acting funny.
Yeah. It's doing the loading button.
Yeah, I know. But we're here and we're live, so it's awesome. I don't know why it's doing that.
Try pressing on something else.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. It's weird.
They're probably not gonna work anymore.
No, it'll work. It's just that it's funny. It's acting really strange. Because we're still live. Hello, everybody. I don't know why it's doing that. Typical Facebook stuff. There it is. Let's see. Okay. Go here. And bear with me, guys. See? FB shifted the format. Yeah. Let's see.
Swipe left on your feed.
Let me see. Hello. Let me do this first. See if we can do it this way. There it is. See all the comments? Boom. All right, let me go back and see who there. Craig, welcome. Hashtag villains for the win. It's a very zen way to spend the Friday for sure, Chris. Hello, Des. Tell him I said hello. Oh, he's in his... I forget, Jeanette, that it's like in the middle of the night for you. Hold on, let me do this so you guys can be right in the middle. All right. Tell him I said hello, and don't wake him up to do that, but tell him I said hello. Let's see. You made it, Mark. Hello. Good morning, Jasmine. 5:30-ish. Oh, you're in Hawaii. That's right. How is Hawaii? I'm sure it's really nice right now. John, I am not repurpling my beard. No way. I'm okay with the salt and pepper look for sure. Yo, I was thinking of like darkening it, but yeah, what's the point at this point? Why? Hello, Cynthia. You're not late, Davina. And anytime you guys arrive, you're right on time. Let's see. The grayness isn't caused by Simon and Tristan. It's caused by the damage that they cause. I'm glad you guys are enjoying Requiem. Jeanette, I'm sure you enjoy your fantastic death in it. You're not late, Laura. Welcome. Yes, I can see the comments now. So that's why I was trying to just make sure that I was able to see them. Jeanette says, I want to thank you for letting me tell Monty to mage up, as it were, with regards to Roxanne. Yeah, there's some interesting developments coming with Monty and Roxanne. So, I like, yeah, Davina, if in doubt, ask a kid to fix it for you. That's why. It's my resident, one of my tech-savvy kids is here. Swipe left. Yeah, I didn't swipe. I just rebooted it and it came back. Hello, Mel. Welcome. Yeah, Chris. FB likes the shiftings without telling anyone. So, yeah. Let me make sure you guys can hear me fine, or do I have to yell? And is it coming across okay, or is it still pixel? I saw it pixelated a few times. So give me a video sound check, guys. Let me know. I'll wait for you guys to let me know how it's going. You can sit. You don't have to stand. Sit down. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me continue. All right. So we have Rule of the Council should be out. The audiobook should be out at the end of June. So that's been done, and the production's finished on it. So I think it's at this point. We're just waiting for Audible to kind of do their thing. They proof it, they listen to it for any kind of ambient, whatever, and then it's done. So let me see if I can do this. Comments. No, that's not it. Okay. All right, did we lose the comments again? I hope not. Is that 2 minutes? Okay, let's see.
Nobody commented. Wait.
Somebody write a comment.
Wait.
Because it says 56 comments, yeah. I don't know what's going on. It's like it's...
Swipe left.
How am I going to swipe left, child?
You hold the feed and then drag it left or something.
It doesn't do that here.
Oh, probably because you're not on the phone.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if we can go to the other format real quick and see. Let's check here. And then here. Bear with me, guys. Let's see this way. This may be easier, just doing it here. And then we go scroll to here. This is nighttime.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little
Laggy.
well, it's not laggy. It's always gonna be a little bit of lag, but
Yeah, but it's like the
here we go.
comments.
All right, we're gonna have to just keep doing that when the comments freeze, because the comments are freezing. It's crazy. All right. Let's see. Wow. Yeah. See, that was the last comment.
Yeah.
Mel's in and out. He's watering plants. Awesome. They shifted 30 minutes ago. Wonderful. Just right before our mob TV, Chris. Because hey, 1:30 a.m. Welcome. That's. Thank you for being here, Jeanette, at 1:30 in the morning. Okay, got a question. What do you mean by salt and pepper? Oh, Mel, salt and pepper is when you have gray hair that's mixed in with black. So salt and pepper. So it's like gray hair and black hair mixed together. That's exact. Davina, you're not right, exactly. You arrive when you arrive, and that's exactly when you need to arrive. You Gandalf it for sure. Let's see. Wow, yeah. In Hawaii, I would be at the beach, Jasmine. So thank you for being here. Okay on sound, great. Okay, it seems to smooth out a bit. Yeah. No pixeling, fantastic. Okay, so as long as it's coming through. 1 minute. Comments on phone keep stopping, but on my iPad they're okay. Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand why it's doing that. It's doing it on the Facebook too. Like the comments will go and then they'll disappear, and they'll come and they'll disappear. So I don't know why that's happening. It's a bizarre situation, one that we need to just kind of deal with this time. It's at least we're here, so I guess we could always do this and just refresh every so often. Yeah.
How many comments are there?
There's I don't know, we'll see. 65. Yeah. So it keeps, yeah. Sound doing a Norman Collier. Yeah, okay. People prepare. Next class will be the yes. So for the next Mob TV coffee class, we will have the red shirt. So get yourself ready. Oh, you keep, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. That's insane, Chris, that they would change the format so recently. But hey, we work with what we've got. So as I was saying, the audiobook for Rule of the Council will be out at the end of June. The books that are currently out, let's see. Requiem is just
Mm-hmm.
recently, I think we just released that, I think last month, last month, Requiem. Yeah. And I'm working on Divine Intervention. That's being worked on. As is Iker, which is the next short story. And it will be a short story. There's no choice. It's a short story. I think I have to do this. Hold on. Let me see something.
They can add feedback.
No. Is it that I have to do? I don't think so.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa indeed. Whoa indeed.
It was like black and white.
That's a whole different. This is the whole different picture. That's all. No, that's not it, because now it's that. So bear with me, guys. We're doing technical stuff in the show, because that's the whole fun thing about doing live shows. We get to do technical stuff on the fly. I like how Iker disagrees. No, it's going to be 10K. So I'm already more than halfway through it. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, usually I get the feed on the phone. I'm not even seeing the feed on the phone. It's so weird. Good morning, Wendy. Hello. And I'm having to refresh even on the computer. Yeah. So when they do a shift, when FB does a shift, it's usually that's buggy all over the place. But we're here, and the reason we're here is because we're on the phone and we're not on the computer per se. We're doing the actual show on the phone, and it's acting really well on the phone. The 5G is going strong, so we're doing good. Yeah, I may disagree, Craig, but it's still gonna be 10K. Welcome, Malcolm. Good afternoon, or well, good morning for me, good afternoon for you. So, welcome. So, Sepia, the full novel number. So it's gonna be Requiem is done. Divine Intervention is being worked on. I'm outlining and adding some stuff. Like I said earlier this morning in the mob, there's gonna be there's a throwback to an enemy that appeared earlier in the series that's going to make an appearance now. It's going to be the main antagonist for Divine Intervention, so it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be death, drama, pathos, destruction, and sausages. So get yourself ready for that. Sepia, the last Sepia, because it's the last one of the series. I'm looking at the calendar. The last Sepia is going to be written later on this year. So that's gonna should be out like October-ish, around there, the last Sepia. And that closes off the pentology. No more pentologies. I'm done with pentologies after that. Then I start working on Night Warden, and I'm thinking the next Mountain Strong, and then right after that, some Darken. So it's kind of a mix of a whole bunch of stuff together. So that's what's happening in that area. Yeah, we sent the story to our... So if you're on Patreon, let me know what you thought about it's not really a story. It was more a... Oh, I'm fading in and out of the camera. It was more of a interview. Jeez, I lost the word there for a moment. It was more of an interview. So let me know what you thought of the interview if you're on our Patreon. So I only got like a few responses. So, wow, it's like the earth is shaking. I only got a few responses, so let me have some feedback on that, so that way we can, kind of see if we need to tweak anything or add anything or change anything, things like that. Oh, let's see. I'm pretty sure we've got more texts.
Yeah,
it's just
it
that
said 83
comments. Yeah, I know, but that's it is what it is. We're just gonna have to keep doing this. And well, just for this show. Well, yeah, that's okay. And we'll work it that way. Because I don't like missing the feed. So yeah, so as our technical situation rectifies itself. So let me know what those of you who are patrons at Patreon, let me know what you thought of the interview. That would get some feedback if we do more of them. I know I have a few of them scheduled to be done. And so we'll see. I mean, I like doing the interviews because they kind of give a little bit of feedback to the characters that you don't really get. And so we'll do that and add some kind of like, it's almost like a behind the scenes type of thing, which is a lot of fun. So, do that and see how that goes. Let's see. Back here.
Maybe you shouldn't go full screen and then you can just see the comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do that. But then I'm gonna lose comments too. Craig, take care. I hope everything's okay. Totally understand. I totally understand if you have to go. Interview Roxanne. Yeah, that would be a fun. There's so many characters to interview. It's amazing. Yeah. So that's definitely one I can consider, interviewing Roxanne. I'm gonna have to read the feed really carefully, only because one, it's acting really funky on the full screen, and two, I only get a few comments at a time. So, but they're coming through this way, so I'll read them from here. So yeah, so I'll see if I can schedule into Roxanne. I have Gray and Coda next. There's so many characters. I could do Roxanne, I could do Ezra, I could do Cecil, or Cecil, as Kevin says. It's so many. You haven't missed any, Jasmine. There's only been one. So I could do Peaches as an interview. I could do Jimmy the Butcher as an interview. I can interview Frank Malcolm. That's true. There's just so many characters that can be interviewed. Yeah, Wendy, you're gonna have to switch your tablet. FB is acting really funky today. Only with the feed. I mean, we're actually getting a nice steady. We can get the actual thing going, but the feed is acting weird. And as Chris says, they probably switched up something and it's interfering with our feed. Cecil would be awesome. Yeah, it's an FB issue. It's happening. The comments are acting weird. I'm getting the comments refresh in real time on FB, but not when I make it full screen. So I have to be really observant as to what's happening with the feed. So if I miss a comment, please let me know. Yeah, please, Jeanette, do not dump the character list here because it is extensive right now. But the video looks great, so that's awesome. That's good to hear, Chris. Let me make sure everything is nice and square. Cool. Very good. Fantastic. Yeah, so at least we're getting them, you know. If I miss one, keep an eye out for it. I got my backup assistant here is making sure. She's right here. The opener and the closer. And now feed reader. Comment reader. So there's so many characters to interview. I have to kind of, I mean, we have enough material to interview characters for years at this point. Because the Patreon, it's every few months that I provide a short story. I have a few short stories also that I'm going to, you know, put on the Patreon only. So I'm already writing a few of those. And those are like really like, it's almost like flash fiction. So they're not long. The interview I think is in like 1,800 words. It's really, really, really short. Yeah, add Z to the payroll, Chris. At some point she's gonna be doing the shows and I'm just gonna be in the background somewhere. So the Patreon shorts are almost flash fiction length, 1,000 words, 1,800 words. I crank them out quickly and then we put them up there, and they don't get. I think Dolly does some editing on it. She just kind of polishes it up and makes it look really good. But it just gets out. It's just really for the patrons. So I have a few stories that are in the works for that. Let's see. Oh, okay. I forgot. I almost forgot about this. And it's 12 o'clock. Jeez, time goes fast.
12 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. Yeah. So I'm going to be on KDP University, July 15th. You see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. So thank you, Dolly, for the notes for today. I'm going to be on KDP University on July 15th. And we're going to do like, it's a long interview. I think it's like an hour long. So it's almost like a mock TV. So put it in your calendar early, July 15th. I'm going to actually, you know, let you guys know more later on. But July 15th, I'll be on KDP University. And it's going to be an interview. So basically, we're just going to sit down and talk Monty and Strong. We'll talk about, I guess, Requiem, which is the most recent book. What do you guys think about Requiem? And, you know, if you have questions about, I'll try to answer them. If you have questions about Requiem, I'll try to answer them now. As long as it doesn't spoil what's coming later on. Yeah, we lost 15 minutes to the glitch. So I'll extend the time. We can go to 12. We usually go to 12:40. We can probably go a little longer today because we did lose
12:55.
12:55. We can go to 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We can go to 1. Let's see what happens. We definitely have enough time. We can talk. So, yeah, we're such a cool group that time flows different here for sure. And we can I have a whole bunch of questions. You guys went all out this time with your questions, and the questions are really like deep. They're really good questions. Let's see if I can access them. Here we go. Yeah. So the questions are really great. They're really great questions. So we'll start hitting those questions around 12:30. So, what are you guys thinking about Requiem? I'd like to hear your thoughts because I get the reviews and you know you guys say it's awesome and I really really thank you. But I like to always hear how the story impacts you. Where do I live? Who are you asking, Jasmine? Oh, no spoilers, Mel. We're not going to do any spoilers for Requiem, for sure. Because I know some people haven't caught up to all the books. So I'll make sure that we're not... It'll be a spoiler-free conversation, Mel, for sure. Jasmine, are you asking me where I live? Or are you asking someone else? Oh, Davina. Davina's across the pond from me, as they say. Yes, in your head, wibbly wobbly timey. Isn't it timey wimey too? And you're actually in the future. Yes, we're looking back at you, Davina. I thought you're 5 hours ahead of us. Aren't you 5 hours ahead of us?
Yeah.
Davina? In the UK? So I thought you were in the future looking back at us. And we're in the past or looking into the future.
Oh.
It's one of those two, for sure. So I'm having issues outlining Sepia because I have to wrap it up also for book 5. So that's going to be interesting because it's not until later this year. And I'm kind of trying to work some story ideas so it could kind of have a good resolution, you know? Oh, okay, you were responding to Jeanette. Yes. Yes. Chris, I'm looking at getting a Jeep. So that's our next family vehicle, getting a Jeep. I need something rugged, so I'm looking at the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited to see if we can get one of those. Well, it's 504 in South Yorkshire. Okay. Definitely. So I'm trying to wrap up Sepia 5, and it's proving to be a little bit tough. So I think I'm gonna jump into the mob and bounce some ideas off of you guys for that last book. So we'll see. But it will be done, which is good. So that's always a good thing. And I have to really rework the schedule because at some point I've got to get John Kane in there. Let's see. Yeah, I tried. So let's see. You enjoyed the relationship and character development. I tried to touch. I had one reader tell me, and it's not. I don't think they're in the mob, but they might be. But they read Requiem, and they said that. And I'd like to hear what you guys think. They said that there was a certain kind of ease with death, and I thought back to Tomb Yards and Butterflies, and I realized that pretty much every book in the Monty and Strong world touches or deals with death in some way. And so this person wondered, why did Simon kind of react? I don't want to say it was cold, but he kind of reacted to the death at the end of, I won't say the character because I don't want to spoil it for Mel. But it was almost like it was kind of cold as the way he dispatched that character at the end. You guys know, if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. So what do you guys think about how Simon is reacting or transforming to the death that's occurring in the stories? Because I don't want it to come off as he doesn't care, because he does. And he went out of his way to not dispatch a certain character. So again, not to spoil it for Mel. But I want to see what you guys feel about how Simon's reacting to death in the stories. And not, when I say death, I don't mean Ezra. I mean death as a whole. You know, the deaths of characters, deaths that he may be responsible for. And do you think that it's impacting him, or that he's becoming callous in the deaths that he's actually doing? Oh my God, yes, I have to do this. This is very important. Look, the thing, I think it froze. See?
Yeah, it did. Yay.
No, not yay.
I know, I was kidding. I was being sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah, because that one... So, the last death in the book, Simon had to do, but he had a chance to take out someone else, and he didn't. He gave them a pass. So... Yeah, Audrey, I agree. He had a lot on his mind, but that last character, that last one, it was almost like he had to defend himself too. Yes, Auto Carrot likes to do that, Davina. Yes, he gave him a chance, for sure. And that character, we'll see her come back also in a later story, obviously. because you know how it is in the Monty and Strong world. These characters have a tendency to exist and come back and make appearances. So sorry about that. It's timey-wimey, yes, but Davina changes. It's changing wimey to wine or wimp. Yeah, related but not the same. Okay. Yeah, I think he's making it. He's compartmentalizing it, so it could be that he's not becoming callous, but he has to be able to put it to the side to get done what he needs to get done. So I tried to approach it from the point of, when you're exposed to a lot of death, or if you're in the military, or if you work in these kind of black ops groups, you can't let the death affect you to the point where you become inefficient in what you do. So I wanted to kind of convey that also. Well, yeah, same thing here, Davina. I mean, I've been accused of that in my past, but I didn't want Simon to come across as uncaring. So that was important. Chris asks, how much of the story gets carefully planned in advance, and how much is developed and written as you get there? A lot of it gets carefully planned in advance, and then I get thrown wrenches as I'm writing, or characters decide, oh, I want to do this now. And I have to see if it's something that I wanted to do that works within the story or not. So a lot of it is planned in advance, and a lot of it, not a lot, but some of it happens on the fly. So it depends, yeah. So Jeanette says the agent was not necessary, whereas the next one works because he's given that character a chance. But sometimes there's no safe option. Right, sometimes there's no safe option, and you got to take what you got, what comes at you. So, all right, I just wanted to touch base with you guys, because I don't want him coming across as death is okay, because he doesn't really have to worry about it. Although, even as an immortal, somebody told me this, someone wrote me, as an immortal, he's the only immortal that they know that has to worry about death so much. So it's like, okay, But it's true. I wanted to make sure that he's immortal, but I also wanted to make sure that he doesn't lose his concept of mortality, even though it's not a major concern for him. So it's this kind of balancing thing that I have to do with him as a character. And even with Monty, because even though Monty is human and he's a mage, mages live a very, very long time, so they have a different concept of what mortality may be. So it's something that I have to balance with him as well. So that's important. All right, so I have a showcase for you guys. This is, you want to come say hello again? Me? So yeah, this is the first pass of the Dark Goat. So this was painted by our closer. She's got to paint it again because it's still kind of, it needs a little bit more of another coat, right, Z?
Yeah.
So, but this is the first pass. It's in the first stage of the Dark Goat. So there you go. Dark Goat. Maybe at some point I'll get an actual Dark Goat. That'll be awesome. Yeah, it came in this weird metallic blue, and then I got the paint, which is over here. I got this paint. It's the tester's paint. Those of you who built models when you were little kids like me know what tester's paint is, and a whole bunch of brushes, and then she decided to go to town. So yeah, it looks really nice. It's awesome. So now it sits near my desk. Just fantastic. No, it's not ghost. Goat. Dark Goat. GTO. Goat. It even says that you can see GTO if you look carefully. See the GTO? GTO. So yeah, it's a Dark Goat. Yeah, so that's the grape. What did you want to call it? The Dark Grape? Yeah, so the Valkyrie said we should call it the Dark Grape. It's not the Dark Grape, but it's the Dark Goat. So, Jeanette says, my feeling is Simon is very aware of death and death, right, both, and he's very careful about not being a murderer. Yeah, I think, so if I had to kind of convey what the characters are in terms of what they represent, Peaches would be the heart of the group, right, because Peaches is Peaches. Simon is kind of the conscience. I'm trying to see, what would Monty be? Because Simon is the one who kind of reins in Monty sometimes too, because Monty would just get things done and not really, he was like, let's just get it finished. And so I guess Simon would be like almost the ego. If you notice that Monty would be almost the ego in the terms of Simon knows how to prod mages. He knows because they have delicate egos. So Monty would be kind of the ego of the group. Simon would be more the conscience of the group, and Peaches is the heart. So yeah, like Monty's the head. Like he thinks this needs to get done. Let's get it done. Boom. Whereas Simon takes a moment, stops, and thinks, and says, oh, "Okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe it's not a good idea." You know. So yeah, and yeah, it's true, Chris. You can, and without being a killer. Yeah. Simon has the moral compass for sure, because Monty has been known, not that he doesn't have a moral compass, but he tries to be expedient about things, and it's easy for him to just remove something than have to face it. If you read Requiem, you'll see that in his answer about Roxanne, it was just like, I'm just gonna do what needs to get done, period, which will come back to bite him later in a story, right? That's it, Davina. Monty would be the head, Simon would be the gut, and Peaches would be the heart. So, being the gut or the intuition or the conscious, the way you want it, in which way you want to describe it, he has to be able to reconcile deaths with sometimes having to take a life. Yeah, that's another way of saying it too. Although I see Peaches more as the heart, you know, but he could also be the soul for sure. All right, and collateral damage, and this is one thing that Simon is always concerned about, the collateral damage. And if you notice, in the destruction of the city, it's not Simon, but Monty and the other mages or whatever other creatures, and Simon's always the one that's like, you're gonna blow up what? And so he's the one that's worried about the collateral damage, for sure. Right. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, Jasmine, that he doesn't think the ends justify the means, but I think it also depends on how people read the story and perceive it, so that also factors into how the characters are seen. Yeah. Oh, the Q&A with Roma, that was fun. I wanted to add a twist to the typical mage battle, because every time you have a mage battle, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna fling some orbs at you and I'm gonna create this spell and I'm gonna but to have it also as a thought exercise while you're fighting kind of elevates it even more. Bye, Laura. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Thank you for being here with us. Bye. Yeah, so having the battle with Roma be a kind of a quiz, I guess, or a test in a way, in addition to an actual fight, or kind of I have to stop her from attacking me before she does the same thing to me. So it's not an all-out battle to the death, but more I have to make sure that she can't attack me. Made it really fun. So yeah. What is Davina saying? Simon used to be human, so he thinks about the human cost. Monty, yeah, so humans aren't his people. He'd probably consider cost of life more if it was in mage lives. I think so too. Malcolm, take care. Hopefully you're back in a little bit. Yeah. Right. And it's also true that Simon has been often power, but he doesn't want power. Only enough to be right. And this is also why Simon was made the shield bearer by Nana. So there's a lot going on there. And then the way Callie kind of transformed that. So there's more that's going to be developed later on. So that whole aspect of Simon being a shield bearer is going to come to fruition, or it's actually going to come to a head later on. So that should be interesting. In the later books, that's going to probably closer to book 18, 19. It's really going to come to a head. Yeah. So yeah. So it's interesting to see how different people perceive the characters, you know? So that's always fun to see. As the author, it's fun to see, because I have an idea about it, but then I always like to see how other people view the characters. So it's fun. Yeah. All right, so let's see. What else have we got? There's not a lot of stuff going on because, you know, we're in the middle of like major projects. So what is Davina saying? He wants what power can do, but is aware that power corrupts and doesn't always go as planned, so he's cautious with it. Yeah. Also, he's aware that power has a cost, and he's seen it enough to know that when you get the power, there's a cost associated with it, and sometimes that cost is more than what you want to pay. So Yeah, I think, Jasmine, I think you're right. I think the reason Nana put Simon in that position as a shield bearer is to make sure. So back in history, when Roman generals would win battles, there was always, and they would come back to Rome, and there was this huge parade. There was always someone next to the general, high up, that would whisper in his ear, "Memento mori," which means remember that you could die, or remember that you're human. And I think that's what Simon does for Monty. Simon is the one who reminds Monty the power is dangerous. Too much power is dangerous. Yeah, I think the War Mage, Jeanette, that's right. The War Mage is really interesting because it shows what Monty's willing to do. And there's also a cost, like Heather's saying, there's a cost and there's a responsibility. And like Chris said, there's always a price. Oh, so already asked, but got Mr. Mages eventually die of old age, or they kind of immortal barring accidents, conversations? I'm of two minds with that in general. So, like, if we go to the traditional wizard, mage kind of thing, like Gandalf, they transition, right? Gandalf doesn't die when he gets taken down by the Balrog, right? He goes off, and he comes back. He goes down as Gandalf the Grey, and he comes back as Gandalf the White. So you realize that he's made a transition. So don't worry, Malcolm, do what you got to do. So I'm of the mind that they live very, very long lives, but eventually die. I don't think they're immortal. I think that just all that energy manipulation extends their lifespan. So, I mean, even Dex is really old. I think Dex is probably one of the oldest mages in the story, in the Monty Strong world. But that doesn't mean that they're weaker. So I like to make it like the older they are, the more powerful they are. So that would be a fun thought exercise, to have these really, really old mages that are really, really, really powerful. Well, see, but Sid is not a mage. Sid is a designer. So that's different. So he doesn't fall within the concept of a mage. So it's different. He's like, he manipulates time. So the closest equivalent we would have would be a Time Lord, right? So if you think about Doctor Who, he doesn't die, he just transforms. So, and Sid doesn't really get affected by time because he steps in and out of time. So, yeah. Yeah, and Dex is really ancient. So he's got to be really, really old. So they can live really, 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 really old age. Yeah. Right, exactly, Cynthia, because they survived so long from the mistakes that could have been made. And right, like Davina said, Sid is often outside the time stream, so you really can't count Sid as you can't use him as an example for how long do mages live, because he doesn't get affected by time the way normal people would. Malcolm says, do very old mages transition to gods, where Hades, Shiva, Kali once mages? No, because gods are gods. That's the way they are. So unless if you want to do that kind of classification, you'd have to do like demigods and things like that. So it's different though. Is Sid timeless? That's a good question. Something I'd have to think about. But I like the concept of Sid being timeless. But then you have to go back to, so how did he come to be? Is he, if you think about it, Sid can exist in every aspect of the Monty Strong world, and he has been doing that. He's been popping up pretty much everywhere, and he even impacted Simon by giving him the box, right? With some, I don't know if you've already read it, but he gave him a box in one of the stories that was used later on in another story. So we'll see. Jasmine asks, do you think Simon could take Dex when they were at the same experience level? No, Dex is just too strong. Even at the same experience level, Dex is just really, really strong. And Dex has other benefits, like the fact that he's together with the Morrigan. And if you read Walking the Razor, I think Mel read Walking the Razor, he has Nemain, which is the axe, or the axe hatchet. And he's really powerful. And yes, technically Gandalf wasn't human, he was a mayor. And if you read Silmarillion, you'll see that it's a whole different race. So yeah, for sure. So, and that's why he's transitioned. And so if we think about mages transitioning from humans to something else, right? then time doesn't apply the same way, which is why they get to live for so long. So they can exceed what's considered a normal human lifespan because of the energy manipulation. And in Gandalf's case, we don't really know how old Gandalf is. We know, I mean, if you read the Silmarillion, it's like goes way, way back before anything that happened with the Fellowship of the Ring. So, again, it's that time doesn't apply to them the same way. And I'm always a little wary when we start talking about time, because you have to make sure you get it right, you know? Right, exactly, the humanoid but not human. This is very different, which is a serious distinction to make. And it also attributes to, if you think about it, how Monty reacts to certain situations. It's almost like he doesn't get it. And Simon has to kind of tell him, hello, can't do that, you know, things like that. And Monty's like, but why? And so it kind of relates to that whole, I see time differently, I see life differently, because I live a very, 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 very long time. And like Jeanette says, and Chris, we've discussed this, everything is energy. And Monty has alluded to this several times when he's trying to explain the concept of using magic or, you know, spells or casting or runes, that everything is energy, or everything vibrates at a frequency, which is true. So, you know, there it goes. Yeah, Jasmine, it's true. See, the thing about comics and the way they've kind of done it right and then messed it up is like, let's say typical Marvel, they have different Earths. They had to do that because they had weird paradoxes with their characters, and they had retcons that they had to do. And so that's why they have parallel Earths and things like that. And this thing happened in that Earth, but it didn't happen in this Earth, etc. So Marvel had to do that several times because of that. Mages and sorcerers are aligned closer to energy. Yes, they are aligned closer to energy. Davina says, and there's no reason why a time manipulator couldn't be born next week and also be 18 today and also have been around since the age of dinosaurs. It's what, yeah, and that's the thing about writing a time story. You have to make sure that you're not confusing your readers. So you have to be really clear about the rules of the time travel and paradoxes, and if they meet themselves in the past, so they annihilate each other or things like that. All these kind of things have to be worked out ahead of time or really kind of established so that the story can flow. If not, it just becomes a real tangled mess, a Mobius strip of story, and it gets really wonky. Yeah. Oh yeah, RC, Marvel has, because if you go back to the golden age of comics and then you go back even, I want to say even 30 years ago, it's all tangled and messed up. That's why they had to do what they did, RC, for sure. Yeah, Malcolm, for sure. Malcolm says, depending on the age Monty was a youngster in, the morals and the viewpoints are different. So modern Moors need explained. Not only the age, but where he was raised and how he was raised, all that makes a difference. So if he was only raised in mage society, they're going to see things differently, for sure. Yeah, Chris, I've been there, and that's why I'm wary about writing the designers. It's called, the first story is called The Butterfly Paradox. And that first story, that whole series, because it is a series, I'm really taking my time about getting it right, because it's got to be like, it has to be really streamlined and efficient, and it has to be clear. It has to be, because time travel, when you put it into a story, if you don't do it right, just ends up hurting everyone's brain, for sure. Everyone just starts going, okay, I can't read this story, it's hurting my head, you know? And so you want to make it so, what are the rules right from the beginning, and you have to stick to those rules. That's the thing that, like RC was saying, or a lot of authors, when you make these rules, you have to stick to them. You cannot change later on, and then that's when you start having mistakes. Yeah. Jeanette says, I'm glad you mentioned that about time in an earlier discussion we'd had. It's making me think about that with regard. Right, time is really important. You have to really address it well so that it's clear to your readers. Clear to you first, but then also clear to your readers. It's really key. Watching kids' TV is an education and not thinking about it too much. Yeah, for sure. I've done enough of that in my time, Davina. So definitely I know. But in a story like that, like the Designers series is going to be, and where time is a real issue, it has to be flattened out so that there's no confusion about it, for sure. Early on, like really early. You can't, because what happens is then you end up creating your own paradoxes, and you try to fix it, or you try to retcon, or you try to introduce other characters, and then you create these weird loops, and then you create weird time paradoxes, and before you know it, your book looks like a pretzel, and even you can't get to the end. Or do you get to the end, but it's really the beginning, or is it the beginning, but are you really in the end, and have you entered into a parallel universe? It gets crazy. So you have to really, really be clear about it, so you don't hurt anyone's head, for sure. So yeah, but I totally get what you're saying about not thinking about it too much. Yeah, and you do paint yourself. Yeah, exactly. You paint yourself into a corner, and like RC was saying, like Marvel did many times with many characters, because they had sloppy timelines, and then you can't get out. Yeah, I really haven't watched Rick and Morty. I hear great things about it, but I really haven't watched it. Yeah. What happens had happened. It's always now. Tomorrow never comes. Yeah, those are great rules for kids. They don't work well in the story. But I think it's good to, like, maybe Sid could say, what has happened unless it hasn't happened until it happened. So that's what it would be like, you know. Tomorrow never comes until it does, you know. And it is always now unless it's later, and then it's the future. Things like that. So, yeah. So the way Sid would see it, even though that's true, Davina, that statement, what's happened has happened, is that he would say what's happened has happened unless you've done something to alter it, and then what's happened hasn't really happened until it happens the way you alter it so that it can happen. And there you go. And that's when you start hurting people's brains. So there you go. And so that's why you have to be careful about time stories. And that's why I never really introduced the concept of time travel into the M&S world. Because it's like, ouch, no, it's not. So I'll bring Sid in as a cameo, and he'll have an impact. He can do a nudge, right? He can give Simon something. But to have him be a main character, it would be too much of a deviation, of a turn from the actual story. So that's why I don't bring Sid in that way. Even though in Walking the Razor, he had a nice little chapter, you know? He had a nice little whole moment there with Sid and Ray. And even then, he's busy talking to versions of himself. So he's not even really there. He's there, but he's busy dealing with other copies of himself, other Sids in different timelines. It's Ray who has to kind of explain things to Simon. Yeah. So, yeah, but see, Malcolm, that's one school of thought, that time is one, what has happened is happening, so will happen. But then there's also the school of thought is that nothing has happened yet. And therefore, until you take an action that impacts what has happened and that what's going to happen and that what will happen until you act. So, you see, there's different ways of viewing even that. See? And some things, there's that school of thought that is like what's happened had to happen, and no matter what you do to change it, and we've seen this in many stories, you know, people go back and try to change one thing to impact the present or the future, ends up happening in a different way, but it still has to happen. And so there's that school of thought as well. So yeah, like Audrey says, everything is relative. So it's an interesting method of telling a story, and you know, we don't need to get so deep. I don't want to ZAZZLE fry your brains, but it makes it interesting to tell time stories. And we all grew up with these. We grew up with Doctor Who. We grew up with H.G. Wells. So, you know, yeah, chaos math and time theories, it's all there. So you just have to be really careful about how you apply it in a story. That's all. Right, exactly, Jasmine. You have that things that are supposed to happen, that happen because you made it happen, of trying to avoid it from happening. Or you have RC, I haven't even touched Fractal. The fractal thought process. So everything exploding in a fractal bloom of possibility is everything that could happen, that will happen, that can happen, will happen. All at once. So it's just, and that's not even going into quantum level. So yeah, like, oh yeah, like Mel's saying, the spooky action. Yeah. So if Jimzilla were here, then we can go into quantum levels of things that don't necessarily work or do things the way you expect them to. And yeah, you end up, it's a deep rabbit hole that you end up not writing the story. You just end up, you know, sitting in a corner with a migraine. So, but I'm going to write that story at some point, just not anytime soon. You should. It's always good to have quantum theory. I include quantum theory in the Monty and Strong world, but I'm light on it unless we were discussing stuff with Ziller or Monty gets into a really, really deep conversation. I try to keep it simple because those aspects of the story are only interesting to geeks and nerds like me who love that kind of stuff. But for most readers, they're gonna skim it. They're gonna go right over it and be like, yeah, okay, let's get to the fun stuff. You know, because that's fun to me as the author, and kind of to explain the world of energy, manipulation, and magic, and all of that. But not everyone finds it as interesting as I do. So I try to make it interesting, but that doesn't mean it is interesting. So it's a whole different thing, right? Oh, let's see. You've got to write the story, yeah, or do something on the story, like writing on it. Not just research. Like that goes back to what I know a lot of authors who do that, who will research, and when it comes to writing the story, I'll get to it eventually. You know? Yeah, Chris, like electricity. I mean, I think the one person that I find most interesting when it comes to electricity was Tesla, because he was able to figure out so many different things with the use of electricity. And he's responsible for a lot of the things that we have now, like cell phones, wireless communication. A lot of it is based on his work, and so he was so ahead of his time, you know. RC says, "Oh yeah, Davina, this is why Lord of the Ring had appendices for sure." Yeah, that's why. I totally agree with that. RC says, "So Sid can go back in time, grab an Infinity Stone, and save the planet Vulcan." Yeah, I think you've got your worlds a little crossed there, but definitely he could do that for sure, and stop Thanos at the same time. Nerd here, yeah. You've got to read a lot of. I don't want to say a lot, because you can really, like it was said earlier, you can really get lost down that rabbit hole. But you can really read a lot on quantum energy and quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and distill it to make it really simple. You know. Let's see. Interesting book. I Am a Strange Loop. Yeah, that's an interesting book. Right, Malcolm says, and more appendices with a few more addendums. Right. No spoiler. Thank you for giving the Montague answer on Bardic Lights. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. For sure. Yeah, okay, let me get to the questions because we're at the time where we should get questions. We got quite a few. All right, so Chris Mendoza asks, what did you want to be as a kid growing up? Wow. I'm not gonna. Writer wasn't it. Author was not it. Not when I was growing up. I mean, I always journaled and I wrote stories and I ran dungeons for my friends doing D&D. But what I wanted to be growing up, I think I wanted to be an architect at one point, designer of some kind. But I really like buildings, so I really wanted to do something to do with buildings or building buildings. Architect would have been great, but it didn't. What happened was that when I was going to start studying architecture, I got caught up more in graphic design. So that's what happened. So it's still in the artistic realm, but I didn't have the discipline to sit down and design an entire building when I could design art and it could be commercial. So that's what ended up happening when I was as I grew up and started thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And I ended up doing graphic design for close to 2 decades. So yeah. So I'm still doing design now, but now I design now I'm designing worlds and stories. But I also, if you see my covers, a lot of the reason why my covers are amazing, besides the fact that the Range Doctor Design does them, is that I sit down and I give them briefs about what I want on the cover, and I know what I've been trained to know what works and what doesn't work. It's not that I have some special gift. I'm trained in graphic design, so I know how the cover should look. I can tell when a cover's working, when it's not. And so far, their designer is top notch, so I don't really have to do anything with their covers. But we've had covers where I've said, no, use a different color, use a different palette, change the font a little bit, things like that. But I usually don't have to do anything with Deranged Doctor Design because they're incredible. Their top designers are incredibly talented. But I know if I had to, I could, but I don't need to. I like that, Jasmine. I wanted to be a janitor because I had all the keys. And Chris is like astronaut. Yeah, I think everyone wants to be an astronaut at some point. Davina says, my whole life I wanted to be a barrister. I would have been totally awesome at it. I think you would have been. If barrister means lawyer, yeah, that's certain. It needs a specific mind to do that. I think you would have been great at it. The careers advisor telling me that without contact I never made it, so I should do something else. Yeah, that's... we have here, we don't have careers advisor, we have guidance counselors, and they do kind of the same thing. I've heard so many stories where they say, yeah, don't pursue that, you should do something else, that this is better for you. I find that to be problematic because a lot of dreams get deferred or a lot of dreams get crushed. They should find a way to let them pursue it and be honest about this is what it's going to take, this is what you can face, this is what's coming to you. And this is how hard or how easy it's going to be. And let the kid kind of go through that. It's usually in high school, so they're teenagers. They don't really know what they want to do. But it gives them some kind of direction, right? It doesn't leave them aimless. RC, take care. It's great to see you here. Thank you for being here, RC. It's awesome that you visited. All right, next question. Oh, geez, Chris. This is a question we just discussed. If you could time travel one time only and sit down to talk with anyone in history, who would it be and why? Wow. That's such a hard question because it can't just be one person. You know how many people I'd want to talk to? I think, because I've had this thought recently. This is a recent one. So at this point in time right now in my life, if I could time travel and sit down to talk with anyone in history, I would want to sit down and talk with Alexander the Great. Just to see what motivated him to do what he did at such a young age and how he managed to do it. Yeah, for now. This is the person I would speak to now. But that could change later today or it could change tomorrow. But right now, that's who I would want to sit down and talk to with anyone in history, because of the impact he had on the world. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Davina says, instead of career advisors, they should call them dream crushers. Yeah, unfortunately, that's so true. Even if I hadn't made it into the top level, I'm sure I could have done something with a law degree. Yeah, you could have. You could have, for sure. Malcolm said, vet, not the military kind, which I did become, then teacher. Yeah, vet. If you love animals, that's a lot of people go in that direction because they love animals. Linda, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here with us and hanging out and spending some time with us in the Cafe Clutch. Have a great weekend, Linda. All right, Audrey asks, what is your favorite one-liner from a movie? For example, you're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, okay. Oh, geez. Audrey, you know how many movies I have in my head? Let's see. Favorite one-liner. Let's see. It's actually 2 lines. Neo says, I know Kung Fu. And Morpheus says, show me. That's a great line. I always like that line. But there's so many. It's so many. It's amazing. Dolly's not here, so she can't answer her. What was your first R-rated movie? Valkyrie, Zoya, yeah. What's your favorite food?
Ice cream.
What is it? Ice cream?
Yeah.
Come over here and say what your favorite food is. Zoya's gonna...
Ice cream.
Ice cream is her favorite food. Yeah, let's see. For me, you can't. There's not one line from The Princess Bride that I could pick because the whole movie is one line. The whole movie. You know? So it's like you just say The Princess Bride. It's the whole movie because it doesn't count as a one-liner. The entire movie. And some people didn't get the... Okay, who didn't get the reference to The Princess Bride in Requiem? Really? There were some people who didn't get it, I'm being told. I thought it was pretty clear. if you watch the movie. Inconceivable. No, I like the other one. I do not think that word means what you think it means. You know, that one's awesome too. And the mask line between the Dread Pirate Robert's character Wesley and the Giant, and like, oh, they're very comfortable. They're going to be fashionable, kind of thing. You know. You've never seen The Princess Bride, Jasmine? Oh, Jasmine, you got to see The Princess Bride. Really, really. Yeah, the book I hear is very good. I never read the book by William Goldman, but I have seen the movie. So, Audrey, do you think the book is better than the movie? Right. He's only mostly dead. We can spend all day just on Princess Bride lines. He's only mostly dead. Mostly dead means mostly some alive. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hello. Oh, but that's a classic. Yeah. You should do it today, Jasmine. Really, I don't know how you can't do it. Go do Princess Bride today. No, it's like, oh, I see you have 6 fingers on your hands. Someone is looking for you. You know, things like that. The movie is a lot different from the book. I guess I should read the book. The book was a hard slog. See, but now I'm going to have to read it because it's the book of, you know. I would imagine the movie is funnier. Yeah. I mean, there's so many lines, you know, and like the pit, you have entered the pit of despair. You've entered the pit of despair. Don't even think about, you know, escaping. Things like that. So it's incredible. All right. Craig has a question. I think Craig left. Or if he hasn't left, he's still here and he'll hear his question. All right. Craig, the dragon, his question is, how many people seem to pluck ideas from the recesses of your mind, then innocently pose that secret thought back to you, kind of validating that secret idea you have not shared yet? You'd be amazed at how many times this happens with the mob. There are times when I have a thought or an idea, or I write a note down about something that I want to kind of explore, and with Jim, with Ziller, this happens frequently. Like I'll have a thought, or with Jim, it's kind of the inverse. Jim will give me ideas about something he's reading or an article, and he'll share it, and it happens to dovetail exactly with something that I'm looking for in a story. That's the way Jim and my brain work. Our brains are connected that way. But there are many times in the mob where something's being shared or something's being discussed, or I get a PM and it's like, you know, this is exactly what so you'll hear me say, get out of my head, because it's something that I'm already thinking about or something that I've already noted, and either we're all on the same frequency and we're just picking up different parts of the same thing, but it happens all the time. It really does. Let's see. It's happened with Craig, it's happened with Chris, it's happened with Jim, it's happened with a lot of more people than you'd imagine in the mob have done things like this, where they're saying something and I'm already, okay, I've already written that one down. Or they make a mention about something that I can't really say because it's coming in another story later on. Or like Davina's saying right now, you managed to take a character, Taylor, from my roleplay group, despite being in a different country and never having interacted with my GM, and we had him first. And honestly, I never really, all that is true. I'm in a different country. I've never interacted with their GM, and Taylor is exactly like the character in their roleplay group. I think what happens is because we've shared so much over the years, and it's years at this point, we start developing this connection where these ideas just start flowing between us. That's my only explanation. We kind of share a collective brain trust in terms of ideas. So yeah, but I have said it a lot. Get out of my head, because Zilla does it, Chris does it, Craig does it, Davina has done it. There's so many of you have said or shared something, and I'm like, okay, now I've got to kind of make sure that I have to kind of adjust it just a bit. You know, it's like that. That's why the mob is a family, because we all, if you notice in families, some person will start a sentence and someone else in the family will end the sentence. And that happens a lot because it's just, you spend so much time around each other, you're connected. And that's what we're doing. So, yeah. Cynthia asks, DC or Marvel? Wow. Both, actually. Although I think I lean more towards DC only because the characters are darker. I'm a huge Batman character, you know. I love Batman. So that's definitely DC. But then I also love the characters in Marvel. There's so many characters in Marvel that I really, really enjoy. So like Wolverine, for example. But I would definitely say I lean closer to DC only because over time and history, the characters in DC were darker. DC wasn't scared to explore darker things. In the beginning, Marvel was very much, you know, kind of, yay, we're okay, and you know, and DC was like, the world is rough and you got to deal with it, kind of thing, you know. So I'm leaning more into DC. Let's say, what is Davina saying? If we get something right too early, that was meant to be an ongoing mystery, would you then change it because you didn't want us to have guessed it? No, I wouldn't change it, because if it's meant to be what it's meant to be, it will be. But I really see it a lot, that kind of, I guess, synchronicity when I'm doing the arts. Because a lot of the suggestions that I get from the art are along the same thought process of what I'm already doing. So a lot of you in the art, when you make suggestions and notes, it's really that you're just tapping into my brain and completing something that I wanted to do. It's really creepy sometimes. Like, whoa, that's exactly what I want. Like, yes, this works exactly like that. So that happens a lot. Yeah, Jasmine, I agree. It seems like, see, what Marvel is doing is kind of making the movies more interesting. But the older folks that are into comics, it's DC because the stories had what we call gravitas. It was a deeper story, and you really got behind the characters. And it's always been that way. I've always enjoyed the DC stories because they were darker and deeper and had more meaning. Marvel stories were good, but they were only good when they tackled really difficult subjects. And Marvel wasn't really known for that. DC was always known for that. And I think that's why they're having trouble in the movie arena of making really good movies, because they're trying to make DC movies like Marvel movies, and you can't. Like, for example, that last movie with Joaquin Phoenix, Joker, it did so well because it touched upon that whole situation of the descent into madness, right? But there are very few, like, let's say Wonder Woman did really well, the Zack Snyder Justice League did well because he really touched into it a little bit more the way it should be. Yeah, Malcolm's saying, yeah. So those did better, but you can't make a DC movie like a Marvel movie. You know, it's not the same. Like, even the characters in DC, most of them are tortured. They have some kind of horrific backstory. Like, you look at Batman, his parents were murdered. You look at Superman, his planet was blown up. You know, it's things like that. Whereas you look at Spider-Man, he was bitten by a spider. Ooh. You know, so it's a little different in terms of the depth and the darkness. So it's a lot of different. Mel, take care. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna wrap up soon, like in 10 minutes. So let me see if I can get to all the questions we have. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Jeanette says, what parts of the world would you visit if you had an unlimited time budget for set visit? I would start with Petra, the city that's in the rock. All the Egyptian pyramids, definitely. Try to hit all the seven wonders of the world that still exist. The Amazon, for sure. As long as I don't get killed by something in there, would be great. I think but yeah, all the amazing places. Angkor Wat in Cambodia, definitely. There are so many places that I would go check out if I had an unlimited budget and time to do so and didn't have to write. So, yeah, Malcolm, for sure. Green Lantern was a little too comic-y, but understand a lot of the concepts of the DC characters were made to mimic Marvel characters or vice versa. So for a long time, their characters were playoffs on each other, like the Avengers and the Justice League and things like that. Bye, Wendy. thank you for being here today. I don't know if you have a show this Wednesday. I think you do, but if you do, have an awesome show. Okay. Oh, Davina says, of course. What you mean is, of course. That's like, that goes without saying. I love going to the UK. In fact, London is right after New York. London is my next favorite city, even though it's mostly dreary and wet and foggy. I really, really like London. But there are other places. I went to Windsor Castle. I went to Greenwich. I went to a lot of places in the UK. So this is as a city, London is my next favorite city. So yeah. Zoya, open the door for your sister. Yes. So okay, so we're way over, but we've compensated going over because we lost about 15 minutes to glitches. So a trip to Melbourne. Definitely I'd go to Melbourne, even though I hear, and I know this is probably not true, that everything in Australia is trying to kill you. But I would definitely try to go to Australia, at least Sydney, Melbourne. There are a few places I'd like to go. I definitely love to go to the Outback. So for sure, I'd love to visit Australia as long as we can ensure that all the creatures there aren't trying to maim or wreck me or take me out of this life. So yeah. So, but Australia's and New Zealand, I'd like to go see New Zealand too, which is close. If I'm going to go to Australia, I want to at least go to New Zealand because I don't think I'm ever going to get to that part of the world anytime soon. Okay. So definitely. I'm sure, see, I wouldn't know, Jeanette, if Melbourne is the better city, but there you go. Simon, I like that, Davina. Simon's Immortality versus Australia. And let's see what happens. The Shadow and the Phantom, is the Shadow DC? I'm pretty sure the Shadow was before DC. I know one of them was in Dark Horse Comics, and some of them weren't affiliated with either one. Because a lot of these characters are before they became big in comics. So, I enjoy the Shadow and I enjoy the Phantom. So I know the Phantom also started as a strip in newspapers when I was really, really, really little. I remember seeing that, and I'm not that old, but I remember seeing it. Jeanette says, "I survived 55 years. We're not that dangerous." That's good because. If I ever go there, I'll let you know if I ever hit Australia for sure. That's something like whoa. Oh, see, Davina, you only visited and it didn't kill you, but you only did permanent damage to your right ankle. See, I'm trying to avoid any kind of damage. Period. So, yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up because it's almost 1, and we really went over it today. So. I am going to wish all the dads, because next Sunday is Father's Day, and our Mob TV doesn't happen until the next one doesn't happen until the 25th. So Father's Day is the 20th. So to all the dads, happy Father's Day. I don't know if I wished happy Mother's Day, but just in case I missed it, happy post Mom's Day. But happy Father's Day to all the dads. At least here in this country, it's June 20th is Father's Day. So I want to wish all the dads a happy Father's Day. And if you guys start talking about coffee, we're never leaving here. So, yes, Chris, I remember the Phantom comic strip too. And we're close in age, so that's going way, way. And Sundays. Yeah. And your birthday's on the 20th, so happy early birthday, Davina. And happy Father's Day to all the dads in the mob. And, I wish you guys a great... every day is Father's Day. Every day is Mother's Day. Let's be honest. It's not just one day a year. It's every single day. But we're going to make it a special happy Father's Day to all the dads in the mob. And thank you guys for being here today, even though we had some weird technical glitches in the beginning with the feed. But thank you all for being here. And I want to wish you guys a fantastic weekend. Listen, I know we have the vaccine, and... people are getting vaccinated around the world, even though there are places that we're in the midst of the hardest parts of COVID. So if you can get the vaccine, right? And if you don't have it or you can't get it, then wear your mask, practice your social distance. I think I'm going to still do that even after I get all the vaccine. I'm still going to wear my mask, and I'm still going to social distance. Just because it's safer that way. And you know, guys, I want to wish you all a happy weekend. Enjoy, get out, enjoy the day. And my close is going to close episode 50.
Goodbye.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
What,
Happy Father's Day.
what episode is this?
50. 50.
Episode 50 of the
Episode
Monty
50
TV.
of Monty TV Coffee Clutch.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great weekend, and don't forget, be uncommon.